Welcome to this segment of Here, There, and Yonder. I'm also the host of Cibola Treasures, and we do have a treasure here in our midst, and we're at the police department here in Grants with the new police chief, Jeff Mattis. So Jeff, we haven't visited since you've become the chief of police.
Yeah, it was just shortly before that, right?
That's right. We were just talking about some of the things you wanted to implement and things you were doing.
Yeah.
And you have implemented a lot of those things. So why in the world are you dressed like this today?
Well, I'm not only the police chief, sorry about that. Let me get that turned off real quick. I also started a bike patrol program that I'm also involved with.
Okay, so where does the bike patrol?
So we mainly concentrate at the downtown area, the Riverwalk, Fire and Ice Park, all the city parks along with those, the apartment complexes, the east end of Grants where all the hotels are at, Walmart, stuff like that.
Okay, so you have a consistent presence in the community.
Yeah, so right now I've got two guys that are full-time bike patrol, but they're operating on the weekends, and they're going from I believe it's 2 p.m. to midnight on bike patrol. And then during the week, myself, when I can, and another officer will be on bike patrol as well in the mornings.
Okay.
We patrol the same areas.
Okay, so if you see someone out and about that looks like Jeff Mattis or one of his staff people that are out patrolling the area, keep in mind that this is probably one of the most effective tools for not only knowing what's going on in the community, but reducing crime.
Oh yes, you'd be surprised. You can, on the bike, because they're so quiet, you roll up on a lot of stuff that's going on, current and not past, where we get the radio calls. We roll up on a lot of crime.
Right, you do.
It's good public relations too, because we're constantly contacting kids, parents that are like, hey, are you guys police? It's like, yeah, we're police. We always carry goodies in our bags.
Wonderful.
So,
that's great.
yeah.
Well, you are facing some challenges.
Yes, we have a few challenges. One being staffing. Staffing is our main concern right now. We're down 4 officers, 4 positions, and maybe another one coming up soon. Who we have a sergeant that applied out. Trying to staff those positions is pretty difficult, especially in our area, because they're moving to bigger areas that have, I guess, more things for their families to do. Also, the agencies that they're going to pay a lot more too, and that's one of the biggest issues why we can't hire anybody.
Well, we just mentioned some of the things that are available here in Grants, right? We have a recreation department that's in charge of the summer softball and baseball leagues,
Yes.
or teams, or whatever you call them. And so that's a busy thing to do. I'm not sure, I haven't checked at the university, but in years past, they've had a summer program for those that are in high school and even younger,
Yeah.
that want to go to the college for things to do. We have a library, a beautiful new library. I say it's new because it's only just a few years old, and we have all of these great things in our community for our youth. And so, and we mentioned the hospital and Good Samaritan,
Yes.
and when I happened to be ill coming out of Good Sam, I had Meals on Wheels.
Mm-hmm.
And then after that, I thought, well, I am able to get around. I can't drive a car, but I can go and pick up my lunches there. Well, it was $1 a meal. Now they've had to go up because of cost. For $1.50, where can you get a meal for $1.50?
Not anywhere now, except for there.
That's right, right. And I can't remember in the recent past where you could get a meal for $1.50.
Maybe the dollar menu at McDonald's. I don't know, but I think that went up too.
Well, it did. I think it's over $2.99 now or something.
Now you brought up the college. We recently held a drug-free day there for the kids last Saturday, and that was a very good turnout. What we did over there was we got with Miss Troy Vannon, who was the director over there at the college. She allowed us to use her parking lot, and we ran the DWI go-karts over there. We had a couple of little other activities for them. We made hot dogs for the kids. And this was I think it was at the same time they had their Democratic convention at the
That was Saturday.
at the Riverwalk.
Right.
Or at the Fire and Ice Park. And then another thing you brought up was the Good Samaritans. I didn't know a lot of whole stuff that went on at the Good Samaritans. I didn't, because I'm not familiar with them. But after, I think, when I went over there on a Thursday, and it was for a call for service, I was able to speak to quite a few people there, including one being yourself, who volunteered your time to help them out that day. And that it opened my eyes on what goes on over there and how many people I knew that go there. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty cool. So the next day.
Now, did you mention Good Samaritan or a senior center?
Oh, sorry, the senior center.
Right.
The senior center is what I'm talking about. So the activities that they give out there, or they have out there for the seniors in our community, is pretty neat. I didn't know they had that. Anyway, I didn't know about the programs that we were talking about, the foster grandparents.
Right.
Good
and
program.
They go into the schools. These teachers or former teachers, or just simply they have a desire to help, and they go into the schools and they assist the teacher with youngsters that may need individual attention, so that child can stay current and up to the standard of the rest of the classroom. So they play an important role in our children's education.
I didn't know that. I didn't know they had any of those programs, which was a surprise to me. But I was like, wow, this is neat, especially for our community,
And they also have a program called Senior Companion Program, where someone will come into a home. I heard about this several years ago, so I'm not current on it right now, but I believe that they will go into the home and make sure that everything is okay. They might help with something light that needs to be done, but it's a companion to that person that is homebound.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that either.
So, and by the way, if you play pool, there's a pool tournament over there at the end of the month.
And there's 3 pool tables.
Right.
Yeah, I was like, whoa, that's in here too.
No.
We could do a cops versus seniors over there.
Then there's also the ice cream social, usually every month. I think this time it's a root beer float day instead of.
Yeah.
So there's just all kinds of things, and they play bingo. There's just a lot of things that they do for the seniors, and then you get to go in and have a meal and some of their meals are just outstanding. I mean, really good meals.
I was able to meet their staff Friday because they were hosting a dinner, or I shouldn't say dinner, a lunch for the foster grandparents that were there. And myself, a couple of my officers were there. The Grants Fire Department was there. Mayor Garcia was there. We all participated in serving those foster grandparents their meals, and it was amazing. I really enjoyed it. I felt honored to be able to do that for them because they've given us so much here, and to wait on them, it just felt amazing.
Sure. Well, there's some other needs. I'm helping a friend with the farmers market, and so on Saturday I go and help her. But I met someone that I did not know worked for Roberta's Place. And this is a program that takes those that have, they've come from domestic violence situations. Now, as an adult, sometimes we can stay in a situation like that, but it's our choice to stay, right? But a child, they don't have a choice. And years ago, I would go and read to these children. This one child was so traumatized by what his father had done to his mother that we could not even get his mind off of that traumatic event.
Even from reading.
Right? So Roberta's Place always needs help, always. And so that might be another place to volunteer or donate money, or there are things that they need down at the shelter. I'm told that they need blankets and sheets and pillows and pillowcases, those kinds of things. So if you're cleaning out your closets, they need those things. For the women, they need underwear. Many of them come in
What they're wearing.
with what they're wearing, and sometimes it's their pajamas or night clothes, because they just leave and get nothing when they walk out of there. So that's another place that we need volunteers too.
They're pretty strict, I should say, and for a good reason. They keep a lot of. I'm pretty sure they have to monitor who they actually let volunteer in there. I know one of them is men, so I know we have to, for us to get in there, we still have to stop at the gate when there's
Right.
calls for service there.
Right.
So they're very. It's a very well secure area.
And they're protective
Yes.
of those
Mhm.
women
Very.
and children that are there.
Very.
Right.
Mhm.
So, so what else is it that's a challenge to you, besides the police officers that you need? And
Right now, our vehicle status right now, if we were to go fully staffed, we wouldn't have enough vehicles for our officers. The couple that we have in the back aren't in. I mean, they run and they'll get us around, but they're getting older. They're getting beat up. So for us to get a vehicle now, they're so far out there as far as when they're making them. They're not even available for us to buy. And the council just passed that we can get 4 units, but we can't find them. So it's pretty difficult. And then even when you get the car, all the parts that go into the car for police services is on back order. So once you get a car purchased and the upfitting of that car purchased, then you have to wait for the car to come in. Then you got to wait for the car to get sent to the upfitting place in Albuquerque, and it's just months and months down the road before we're going to ever see a car.
right, right. But there's some things that I wanted to commend your officers for, because I'm out and about every day. One of the things I have observed is that they obey the speed limit, and they come to a complete stop at a stop sign. This has not been true in the past, okay? Because you would see them in a 25-mile zone going 40 miles an hour, and then just kind of breezing through a stop sign. I see your officers are setting an example for obeying the law.
Not only that is, so if there's a call for service that requires us to exceed the speed limit, and if it's doesn't meet that criteria of a code 3 call, which is lights and sirens, they will have their rear lights on, which lets the public, hey, I'm going to this area I need to get there quickly, but not as fast as a code 3 call. So they are doing a very good job of maintaining and they're obeying the laws.
Well, but setting an example
Mm-hmm.
for others in the community, as well as young people that are learning to drive and going about their thing. And I have to confess that as a young person, I loved speed, and I guess I still do to some extent. But I understand why you want to press that accelerator down, and when you get to a stop sign, just say, I've got the best car that'll go. I understand that.
Yeah.
But I see them setting an example, and that is so important, because we want a safe community.
Mm-hmm.
We want to, and I see more people out walking since COVID.
Yes.
And what that tells me is that people feel secure and safe walking out. And the parks, we've got people coming and going, our Riverwalk Park and our Fire and Ice Park, and our parks are a place where people want to be,
Mm-hmm.
because they're so attractive.
Oh, yes.
And so the fact that you're out there patrolling those areas.
Yeah, so it was kind of difficult for us to walk those areas, because when those same officers have to respond to calls for service, and if in an emergency call for service, if they're a mile away from their car, they're not going to respond very quickly to somebody who's in need of a police officer. So utilizing the bike patrol, and they're constantly at the parks and everywhere else, but they access the walkways, the alleyways, whatever walkways are out there, they get around pretty swiftly. And we talked about the bank robberies that just occurred. Myself and another officer who were on bike patrol at the Riverwalk at the time were actually there first because we were close by.
Sure.
Now the question was brought to us, well, why didn't you guys get in your police car and then go? Well, our police car was parked further west, so it's easier for us to respond because we were right there. Now the call doesn't come until after the bank robber leaves, so they had already left the area. But yeah, we were in the area.
And I understand that it's now in the hands of the FBI.
Yes.
And that you cannot reveal to the public until the FBI releases that information to you.
Yeah, I have communication with their public information officer, and we discuss a lot of things. They're both still under investigation, and the minute anything arises from those, our detectives are working with them very closely. So as soon as something comes up, we'll let the public know.
Okay. Well, in closing, what would you like to tell the audience?
Have a safe summer. I think that getting out in the outdoors is a great way to spend it. Unfortunately, the wind has kind of stopped us from doing that in recent, and it's dry outside, but hopefully we get some rain soon. Go to the parks, enjoy yourselves, enjoy your family time, and be courteous to others. I know it's hard to do that when you see other people not so friendly, but I think for the most part our community is very friendly, and it's welcoming to the people that come in and visit.
Right. Well, in closing, I need to say that our police department are filled with heroes. They're my heroes. So, Jeff, thank you so much
Appreciate
for
that.
being here and for taking care of us in the way in which you do.
Appreciate that. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And thank you for tuning in. We'll see you next time.